Long ago in Egypt there lived a woman named Jochebed. She was kind and gentle, and she loved God with all her heart. But her heart was full of fear, too. The king of Egypt, Pharaoh, made a cruel law. He said, "Every Hebrew baby boy must die." The sound of crying filled the land. Mothers wept. Fathers prayed in silence. But Jochebed didn't give up. She knelt down and whispered, "Lord, you gave me this child. You will protect him." One quiet night, her baby boy was born. He was small, beautiful, and full of life. She held him close and said softly, "You are my little light from heaven." She hid him from the soldiers. Every day she prayed for one more morning. Every night she feared someone would find them. But babies grow, and soon his cries grew louder. Jochebed knew she couldn't hide him anymore. Her tears fell as she worked through the night, weaving a basket with her hands. She made it strong enough to float on the water. She kissed her baby's forehead and whispered, "My son, I love you, but I must give you to God now." At sunrise, she carried the basket to the river. Her daughter Miriam followed behind, holding her hand. The river was quiet. The air was still. Jochebed knelt near the edge and prayed, "Lord, hold him when I cannot. Watch him when I cannot see." With trembling hands, she placed the basket on the water. It floated softly like a small miracle. Miriam cried as it drifted away. Jochebed stood still, tears running down her face. The river carried the baby slowly through the reeds, not by chance but by God's plan. Far away, near the palace, Pharaoh's daughter came to the river to bathe. She saw the basket caught in the tall grass. When she opened it, she found the baby crying softly. Her heart melted. She lifted him gently and whispered, "This must be one of the Hebrew babies. I will care for him." And just like that, the river that could have taken his life became the river that saved him. God was already working quietly, turning fear into faith and tears into destiny. That baby would one day grow to lead a nation, but for now, he slept safely in the arms of grace. The baby who floated on the river was now a man. His name was Moses, the name Pharaoh's daughter gave him, because she had drawn him out of the water. Moses grew up inside the palace. He wore fine clothes, ate rich food, and walked through halls of gold and stone. Everyone treated him like a prince, but Moses' heart was never proud. When he saw slaves working outside, something inside him hurt deeply. Their pain felt like his own. Sometimes he stood on the balcony, watching the people of Israel work under the sun. Their cries reached his heart like an echo from God. He whispered, "Lord, who am I? Why did you save me from the river?" He had everything, but he felt empty. He could no longer look away. One day he went out to see the workers. The air was hot. The sound of whips filled the air. Then Moses saw an Egyptian guard beating a Hebrew slave. The guard's voice was cruel. The man's cries were full of pain. Something broke inside Moses. He ran forward, shouting, "Stop!" He tried to protect the slave, but in his anger he struck the guard, and the man fell to the ground lifeless. Moses froze. His heart raced. He looked around, terrified. No one saw. But the next day, everyone knew. Pharaoh's men began to search for him. Pharaoh himself shouted, "Find Moses! Bring him to me!" Moses ran for his life. He left the gold, the power, the comfort, everything. He walked alone into the desert. The wind was dry, the ground was hard, but his faith carried him forward. He prayed as he walked, "Lord, I have lost everything, but I still have you." Days passed. His feet bled. He was tired and hungry, but finally he reached a quiet place called Midian. There, beside a well, he helped some women who were being treated badly by shepherds. Their father, a kind man named Jethro, welcomed him. Moses stayed with them, and in time, he married one of Jethro's daughters, Zipporah. He worked as a shepherd in the hills. For many years he lived in peace, but deep in his heart he felt something missing. Every time he looked at the stars, he remembered the river. He remembered his mother's faith. He knew God had saved him for a reason. One morning, while tending sheep near Mount Horeb, he saw something strange. A bush burning with fire, but it was not burning away. He stepped closer, and a voice came from the fire. "Moses, Moses." Moses stopped and whispered, "Here I am." The voice said, "Take off your sandals, for the place you stand is holy ground." Then God spoke, "I have seen the pain of my people in Egypt. Go, Moses, set them free." Moses fell to his knees and cried, "Lord, I am not strong. I cannot speak well." But God answered, "I will be with you." And in that moment, Moses knew the same God who saved him through the river was now calling him through the fire. Years passed since the day Moses saw the burning bush. He had changed. He was no longer afraid. His heart was full of faith. He knew that God was with him. One morning, as the sun rose over the desert, God said, "Moses, it is time. Go back to Egypt." Moses took his staff, kissed his wife and children goodbye, and walked toward the land he had once escaped. When he reached Pharaoh's palace, the guards laughed, but Moses stood strong and said, "The Lord, the God of Israel, says, 'Let my people go.'" Pharaoh crossed his arms. "I will not let them go," he said proudly. And so God showed his power. The rivers turned to blood, the sky grew dark, and storms came over the land. Each time Moses prayed, each time Pharaoh said no. But God's plan never fails. Finally, after great sorrow fell upon Egypt, Pharaoh shouted, "Go, leave this land." The people of Israel packed their things quickly. They followed Moses out of Egypt, men, women, and children, carrying baskets, animals, and hope. For the first time, they walked free. But Pharaoh's heart turned hard again. He called his army. "Go after them!" The people saw the soldiers coming, their horses and chariots shining in the sun. Before them was the Red Sea. Behind them was Pharaoh's army. They cried out, "Moses, what do we do?" Moses looked at the sea. The water was deep and wide, but he remembered the river. He remembered how God had saved him as a baby. He raised his staff high and shouted, "Do not be afraid. The Lord will fight for you." Then the wind began to blow. It grew stronger and stronger. The sea started to move. The waves rose like two great walls, and the water opened a path right through the middle. The people stared in wonder. Moses stepped forward and said, "Walk by faith." They crossed the sea, walking on dry ground, with walls of water standing beside them. Children held their parents' hands. Old men cried with joy. When Pharaoh's soldiers followed, God told Moses, "Lift your staff once more." Moses did, and the water crashed down like thunder. The sea swallowed the chariots and the army. The people stood on the other side, safe and free. They fell to their knees and cried out, "The Lord has saved us." Moses looked at the sea, the same kind of water that once carried him as a baby. He smiled through tears and whispered, "Lord, you were with me in the river, and you are with me now." The people sang, and the desert echoed with praise. Faith had opened the sea. Faith had saved them all.